Hello there, I'm Derek.
And I'm Jamie.
And welcome to I Know You with Derek and Jamie, the podcast where two friends recommend themed content and try to predict the other's reaction to see who knows who better.
And we'll also have a mini segment where we discuss anything from who we would recast to or movie trailer reactions. But we also have a lot of mini games too that we do at the end of the episode, so stick around for that.
And the theme for today's episode is Rebooted Disney. We chose this episode because The Jungle Cruise just came out, I believe. So yeah, that's why we're doing this. And my choice for that theme is Maleficent, Mistress of Evil.
And I chose the movie A Christmas Carol, the 2009 version. So just a disclaimer before we jump in, there will be spoilers in our podcast, more so for Derek's choice than mine. So listen at your own risk, unless you've seen them or know about the Christmas Carol story. Then just enjoy us talking about them.
All right, so Jamie, what's up with you? What's going on up there in the mountains?
Well, since the last time we did the podcast, which goes good with this theme, I went to Disney.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I went to Epcot for one day. It was fun drinking around the world. I did really good. At the beginning, I was doing more like liquor drinks. And then maybe like a third of the way through, I switched to wine and beer. And I was like, okay, I'm good. I'll be good. No hangovers, not getting drunk or anything.
Exactly.
And then I got to the UK, which is the second to last one.
Yeah.
And we met this couple who she had the same name as me and they had just got engaged. We took 2 shots.
Oh no.
And then I had a Crown Apple whiskey drink in Canada. So yeah, that pushed me over the edge and I was hungover the next day when I had to fly home.
You can't go back to liquor before beer, you're in the clear. But beer before liquor, never sicker. Come on.
I know.
It.
I knew it. That's why I was done. But then I just met these people and she had the same name as me.
You know what? I'm giving you a hard time, but I know myself. If I ran into someone with the same name as me, I'd be like, well, yeah, let's do a shot.
Spelled the same way, yeah.
Okay, if it was spelled the same way, we would become partners in some business or something. I don't know what.
What have you been up to?
We had our first hurricane of the season down here in Florida this past week.
What was the name?
It was Hurricane Elsa that just came through. And like, we were like,
go,
right.
Which goes with Disney.
Which goes with Disney. Oh my God. Forces of nature like wanted this to happen. That's terrible. I believe this wasn't like that big of a hurricane. Like it didn't do that much damage. It just was like a torrential downpour all day. Like for straight, at least like 36 hours. And the way our apartment set up, like we have like our little outcrop and a gutter right in front of our front door. So it kind of, if it rains really hard, it creates like a wall of water. So we had like a wall of water anytime we wanted to leave the house or anything, or like we had to take our dog out. So yeah, it was a fun day. I got off work for it. That was kind of nice. You should have seen me my first year living here. I was freaking out. It was coming in and we were going to get out in front of it. But I'm like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Like, I'm like, what if our apartment's just destroyed when we come back? I just didn't handle it well, y'all. Okay,
let's
just say that.
You've lived through tornadoes that are worse than hurricanes.
Oh yeah, I used to go out on my deck and watch tornadoes like in the distance.
But hurricanes you were scared of.
Hurricanes are fucking huge, okay?
Hurricanes are
giant,
fine.
Massive water storms.
You're like in the middle of Florida though. You're not like by the coast, so you're fine. You just get rain and wind.
Florida's not that wide, y'all. It's like a 2-hour drive from like one coast to the other in Florida if you're like down the shaft of it. I didn't know how else to describe it. I know there's the panhandle. I don't know what you call that.
Derek lives in the shaft, right in the middle.
I'm kind of near the base, a little lower. I don't know. Okay, let's stop talking about it. Let's get into some movies. This is getting weird. All right, I think you go first this time.
Me? Okay. Well, my movie is The Christmas Carol, the 2009 version. Before I get into it, I'm going to give my guesses like always. So for objective competence, I think Derek gave it a B-. Story, great. This is one of the first times it's been told most like the book. Personal enjoyment, I guessed a 7. And then rewatchability is where I had issues because I feel like if it was at Christmas, it would be a 4. If it was any other time during the year, it would be a 1. So I gave it a 3 is my actual guess, but you'll only watch it at Christmas. That was really hard because I was like, it's a good Christmas movie. It's more like adult.
Yeah.
So the info on this movie, it was released in November 2009. This classic story is written by Charles Dickens, but is directed and written by Robert Zemeckis. It stars Jim Carrey as all the versions of Scrooge, the ghost of Christmas past, present, and yet to come. Gary Oldman is Bob Cratchit, Marley the Ghost and Tiny Tim, Colin Firth as Fred, and Robin Wright Penn as Belle and Fan. Carey used different accents for each role. The film was produced through the process of motion capture, and it is Disney's third adaptation of the classic story. And Zemeckis said that this has to be one of his favorite stories dealing with time travel, and that's big coming from him because he directed the Back to the Future films. So a quick summary for those of you who, for some reason, don't know the story of The Christmas Carol. London awaits the joyful arrival of Christmas, while Ebenezer Scrooge thinks it's all humbug, berating his faithful clerk and cheerful nephew for their views of Christmas. Later, Scrooge encounters the ghost of his late business partner, who warns that 3 spirits will visit him this night. The ghost takes Scrooge on a journey through the past, present, and future in the hopes of transforming his bitterness. So Derek, what did you think of this adaptation compared to other ones you have seen?
What is the third Disney one? Because I know there's like the Mickey and the Gang one. There's this one. What's the third one? Is it Muppets? Is Muppets technically Disney?
Yeah.
Okay. I like the Muppets one. I like this one too. You know, I love this fucking story. The Christmas Carol.
It's such a good story.
It is such a great story. It's honestly really hard to really mess up, in my opinion. I think my favorite Christmas Carol adaptation, I haven't seen that many. I haven't seen some of the older ones, but my favorite one is probably Scrooged. I don't know why. That one is so like of its time and like just balls to the wall crazy. I love it.
My favorite Christmas Carol adaptations was the Flintstones.
Oh my God, I don't think I've ever seen that one.
It used to be on Cartoon Network every Christmas. I haven't seen it in probably over a decade, but I remember loving it because it was like the Flintstones were putting on a play of the Christmas Carol.
Wait.
And then it was like behind the scenes issues. Yeah, Fred Flintstone was Scrooge, but he was also, as Fred Flintstone, being a dick. And
well,
so you
yeah.
get not only the story of the Christmas Carol, but you get the behind the scenes of the Flintstones. So yeah, okay, anyways, go on.
That's fucking crazy. Okay. Yeah. So, no, I was saying I like this film. Like I said, like the story is classic. They don't ever stray too far from it. And you said something about like how this is the closest adaptation to the book.
Yeah.
Okay, like I've never read the book, so I honestly wouldn't know. But yeah, like all the performances are really great, especially from like Carey and Colin Firth. What's his name? Gary Oldman. Thank you. He was amazing. I did wonder. Scrooge kind of looks like Jim Carrey. His nephew, the character does kind of look like Colin Firth, but then Bob Cratchit, Gary Oldman's character, looks nothing like Gary Oldman, like at all.
So I was gonna ask you what you thought of the animation because it was motion capture. They had dots all in their face. Do you remember when this came out and there used to be like promos of like behind the scenes?
Yeah.
I get that Bob Cratchit doesn't like, you can see it more so at the end when Bob Cratchit breaks the fourth wall, when he's just staring at the camera.
Yeah.
I could see it mostly there. But yeah, the rest of them is insane how well that motion captured. I watched videos of behind the scenes of this. They literally acted it all out. They not just had motion capture on their face, they had it on their body. And so they acted this whole movie out and then it was just animated through that. So yeah, what were your thoughts on the animation?
I was gonna say, honestly, I hate to say it, but that was my biggest issue with the film, is the animation. Not that it is animated. Like, I'm down with an animated film anytime, but it seemed like it didn't know if it wanted to be animated or live actions, because some parts were like super like detailed and slow and like creepy and eerie, and then it got really cartoonish at times too. And I'm like, does it want to look really realistic or does it want to be cartoony? If they kind of want to be like a cartoon in the real world, why not film it live action? Like, Disney has the money, they can do it.
Yeah.
Or if you want to be super cartoony, why not just do a fully animated film so the characters can be even more expressive? Like Jim Carrey, obviously super expressive without any animated, like watch The Mask. He doesn't need animation to be expressive. But like everyone else in comparison is kind of just like flat. I don't know, somewhat.
With the animation, yeah, like I kind of agree with you on that it is weird. That's just the style, because this director also did Polar Express, which I believe was done in the same way.
And Welcome to Marwen, which had elements of this too. Robert Zemeckis loves his motion capture.
He really does.
Ever since like that technology became available, and I think he kind of helped it along.
The animation, I don't know how about you, but to me, it felt very video gamey.
Yes, thank you. I couldn't put my finger on it, but this moment you said it, I felt like I should be holding a controller and...
Yeah, like this is a big cutscene.
Yeah. You know what's funny? Because that's what they do a lot in video games nowadays, is they do a lot of motion capture. So it makes sense why this looks, especially like in comparison to now, just like a video game. And like, I think that also gets into an overall issue I had, is like the issue with the tone of this film. It can be very dark and brooding and creepy and frightening. Like the scene with when
Marley?
Future, that one is creepy. Yeah. But I was going to say the one where the Ghost of Christmas Present dies and he
That
just like
was
withers
fucked
away
up.
and like he's laughing as a skeleton. And you're like, what the fuck? But then like 2 scenes ago, you see like them like dancing weirdly and like dancing up and like floating in the air for a second and then like flying back down. And I'm like, wait, what kind of tone are we trying to set here? Like you can have a jovial scene, but like when it gets so cartoonish and then you have the scene with that, it's like, what?
Like, this is such a scary movie for a Disney Christmas movie.
Yeah.
So this came out in 2009. Blake went to see it. My little brother went to see it in theaters, and he was 6 years old. It scarred him. He was terrified.
I would imagine. Because that's the thing. You hear Disney's A Christmas Carol, so you probably think back to the one in the 90s. I think it was the 90s with Mickey and the gang and Scrooge McDuck.
And you're like, oh, I'll take my kids to go see this.
Yeah,
no, it is
Goofy
not
was
a children one.
No, creepy jaws falling off of people. Scary specters of death that are never actually seen, that are just like shadows.
This is why it's most closely related to what the book is. And now that kind of makes me want to read the book to see how fucking scary the book is.
I've kind of always wanted to read the book, but, you know, I gotta get reading.
Reading is hard.
I'll listen to the audiobook.
Okay, back to Christmas Carol. Marley was super fucking creepy. Like when he was the doorknob knocker and then when he came in through the door, that was like a horror movie.
Yeah, frightening scenes. Like I want to see an adaptation of the story that is, I'm sure there is one, but that is like a full-on horror story, because it's a ghost story.
Terrifying.
I don't know. I loved all the terrifying things about this movie.
You and me don't like scary movies, but I really liked that this movie was like it is.
Yeah, it really feels great. I loved the Ghost of Christmas Future.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask, was which ghost did you like best, past, present, or yet to come?
I think I liked each one more and more. The past one, he talked like this in everything.
He was super creepy. He kept doing like a little jig.
If anyone's seen the first Suicide Squad movie, Enchantress in that, it was kind of like that. He was always just kind of like moving, just
The Ghost of Christmas Past was a candle. That's who he was. So when he moved like his body, the head of the candle was the flame with the face on it, and it would just like jig around. And it was just super creepy.
I don't know. I didn't find it creepy because I just found it like too silly. That one was too silly for me.
How was the shape-shifting faces silly?
Okay,
that was
that
creepy
part,
as
no,
fuck.
That was creepy. That was nightmare fuel. So it had that. Like anytime I see like those super creepy stuff, all I can think of is like the Disney thing, like da-na-na-na-na, like right over that. I'm like, this is a Disney film. This shouldn't have like this intense stuff. Or like it should have this intense stuff, but then get rid of the like people dancing and like floating through air, and then Jim Carrey being shrunk and having a high-pitched voice while being chased by the specter of death. But that's the thing, like, it shouldn't be funny. He's being chased by death. He's trying to outrun death. It should be like the most fear-inducing part of the film, but it's not.
Because he has the high pitch voice.
Oh no! Oh no! Ah! It robs the entire moment of almost all its tension. But the moment, like right before it, Jim Carrey's sitting on the stairs watching the Cratchit family, and Bob Cratchit, he hides it. He hides the pain from his family. But the second he's out of view from his family, he lets it all out. And then he's right in front of Jim Carrey, face to face, inches, and he has to just take that. He has to take all of it. That emotion, I'm kind of getting chills a little bit thinking about, like, that is such an emotional, my God. Yeah, I was on the verge of tears at that moment. Like, it's an intense moment. But then that's followed by the high-pitched chase scene, and you're like, what's going on here? But then that's followed by him, like, being sucked to, like, the depths of hell in a grave while there's a fucking death tornado above him. And then the thing reaches out. You never really see what it is, but it's wearing, like, these weird goggles or something. I don't know what that was. Like, could you tell what the face of that death thing was? I couldn't.
No, I think that's the point of it. You're not supposed to know what death looks like.
And that's brilliant. And then the scene after that, when Jim Carrey then sings the end of the song, I'm like, we're in Jim Carrey. Here's Jim Carrey again. Like I said, again, I didn't dislike the creepiness factor. I honestly just like the, like, light Disney moments that were, like, interspersed interjected into the thing, you know?
See, I didn't mind them because it gives you like differences. Like you get the joyful moments to only know how bad the dark moments are. Like you see the past and see his sister and he's like the people that I went to school with and it's all happy. And then it goes to the present where it's like everyone's talking crap about him and he's not with anyone, to the future where he dies alone and no one gives a shit. And you appreciate that because you saw the differences each layer. So I didn't mind the lighthearted moments because you kind of need it in a Christmas story like this. Yeah. Especially, I mean, this story specifically, you need the lighthearted moments to really feel the deep, sad moments too.
I don't have the issue with like the jovial moments. I like the jovial moments at the end when Scrooge has the change of heart and he's super happy. And honestly, after that, I didn't really have an issue with it, except for like Jim Carrey singing that song. That was like something that just kind of popped up, is like Jim Carrey was a little too Jim Carrey at moments where I'm like, it's Jim Carrey. Like they hit it really well at times, but then at times I'm like, Jim Carrey. Like just the moments, they seem too, not just jovial and light, but too cartoonish, too goofy, too stretchy. Like it didn't feel like the real world, but everything else made it try to feel like the real world. But like I said, there's still a lot to love about this film. And like, if you like The Christmas Carol, you're going to like this film. You're not going to be like, oh, that was such a bad adaptation. They did everything wrong.
Yeah, you shouldn't go into it thinking of a Disney movie. You need to go into it just thinking of an animated The Christmas Carol.
Right. I think that's what you kind of have to go into it. I was thinking about this when I was watching it. Jim Carrey is like, has been two of Christmas's biggest icons.
I know.
The Grinch and Scrooge.
He needs a new movie now.
He needs to play like a Santa. He needs to play a Santa somehow. And then he'll have like the trifecta. I guess these are very similar stories, aren't they?
It really is.
Yeah, so he likes really playing the grump that turns out to have a heart of gold later, you know? He's good at it. I can't deny him.
Did you notice in the scene when it's the ghost of Christmas is yet to come and he's sitting like on the steps and there's those guys talking about the business guy who died? Did you notice that one of them like snorts cocaine?
No.
Matt and I were both sitting there. It happened and we were like, did he just snort cocaine? Like he had something on his finger and he went into both nostrils.
You know I'm looking this up right now. I'm bringing it up.
It's an hour in 3 minutes and about 30 seconds.
Here we go.
I thought he'd never die. What's he done with his money? He hasn't left it to me. That's all I know.
Holy... Did you hear that? Okay, guys, listen. You can hear the snorts.
They heard it. I could hear it. I could hear it, Derek.
Hear the snorts?
They heard it. Yeah.
So you heard those snorts. Hasn't left it to me. What the hell was he doing? Well, okay, back then cocaine would have been a fucking like actual medicine, but like the fact that he's literally just has it like on his pinky and he's like, oh yes, hasn't left it to me. Oh, woo! Like, na Disney. What the fuck? Oh my god, that's great. I love that you keep pointing out like National Treasure. They don't have guns. This dude's doing coke in a Christmas Disney movie.
It's so great.
My last bit I want to say is like, I wish this would have been done in like a 2D animation or in the animation style that's actually like still CG but has like the outlines of 2D that was in like Into the Spider-Verse film, or that Disney short with the dude and the paper airplanes and it was like black and white. I wish it was like that with the same voice cast and a very similar kind of visual style. But I think either that or full live action, full big budget. Let's see this thing.
Well, it was a 3D movie when it came out, which you can definitely tell watching it. You could tell that it was meant to be seen as a 3D movie, which would have been even scarier.
I don't know. Those are the only two things like I kind of had. It's a pretty good telling of A Christmas Carol with a few tonal issues for me. And I wish it had either done like a 2D animated or a live action. I think I would have enjoyed that more.
Who would you suggest this to?
So one, I think fans of the story would enjoy this telling. I'd say if you like the 2001 Jim Carrey The Grinch, I think you'd probably enjoy this pretty well too.
Because it has humorous moments.
Right.
Because Jim Carrey's in it.
And I think you're going to enjoy Jim Carrey, like regardless. Yeah. So because I think if you enjoy The Grinch, that probably means you really enjoy Jim Carrey.
Sweet. Well, let's get back to my guesses then. For objective competence, B-.
I gave it a B.
personal enjoyment, I give it a 7.
I gave it a 7. Like I said, I like this film. It's a pretty good telling of this story. I enjoyed it. And it was a little weird to watch it in like July.
Right on. And then rewatchability, I want you to answer all of them. I gave it a 4 at Christmas, a 1 any other time, because Derek does not do Christmas outside of Christmas time. And then a 3 overall. 3 is the official answer.
Basically, yeah, if this was any time outside of Thanksgiving to New Year's, the Christmas season, I would not rewatch this film. It would be a 1. Inside that season, it would be a 3. So I gave it a 3 because I kind of felt like this is when I'll watch it and I might put it on. It's not going to be like an every year kind of Christmas movie. There's a couple places for those.
Dang, so I was 1 off.
You were 1 off total.
This was a good movie though. Like, I'm so happy you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did enjoy it. If you enjoy this story, you'll enjoy this movie. And I enjoy the story, so I enjoy the movie. All right, on to mine. A very different film. My movie is Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. So before I get into the info, let me give my guesses. Honestly, very close to Jamie's guesses. Objective competence, I gave it a B. Personal enjoyment, I gave it a 6. And rewatchability, I gave it a 3. I don't know what I was thinking now that I think about that, but we'll get into it. So, Maleficent 2 was directed by, I'm gonna butcher this name, I'm sorry, Hochim Ronan, and stars Angelina Jolie, Elle Fanning, Harris Dickinson, Michelle Pfeiffer, Sam Riley, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Jen Murray, and Ed Skrein. Set 5 years after the first film, Maleficent, Mistress of Evil follows the titular character as she faces the neighboring kingdom's perception of herself as villainous, while her goddaughter Aurora begins to question their complex family ties, as well as impending nuptials, unexpected allies, and dark new forces at play. So Maleficent 2 was released in late 2019 and grossed almost 500 million. But given that the budget was almost 200 million, it barely made a promise. The film also received mixed reviews, some loving it, some not so much. But given both of these factors, Disney is already developing a sequel. So before we get into anything, I want to know, Jamie, you've seen the first Maleficent, right?
Yeah, once.
Once. Okay. What were your general thoughts on that before you get into anything on this?
I wasn't a huge fan of the first movie. I've never been a huge Sleeping Beauty fan. So the first one I wasn't like big into. I had already known the story and it wasn't my favorite remake that Disney has done. I'll say that. Not bad, but not my favorite.
All right. So I'm kind of the same way. I was never a huge Sleeping Beauty fan. I actually don't think I watched the film until right before Maleficent 2 came out. And I'm like, yeah, let's watch Sleeping Beauty. And I watched it and I'm like, yeah, this is a decently enjoyable film. There's some fun characters in it, like really good animation. Maleficent 1, like I'm like, this is it's okay.
Yeah, I feel like the first one pulled more so from the original animated film. And then the second one was able to go off on its own.
So what do you think of that whole new thing of going out on its own? Should it have done that?
I thought the story was original and added a lot more aspects to it, but kind of like how The Christmas Carol was definitely not a children's movie, this I would not consider a children's movie at all.
Yeah, there's some stuff that in the third act, it takes a turn, doesn't it?
Oh my God.
That climax takes a turn.
Good God.
Should we just get into that right away?
Let's just do it.
I'm going to run through the story real quick to get everyone up to speed at where the climax is. So basically, Aurora and Philip are about to get married. So Maleficent and the new king and queen have to meet. That dinner goes wrong and Maleficent goes off and finds more of Maleficence, and while Aurora stays with them, and tensions keep rising. And at the end, basically all the new Maleficents that are called Dark Fae, they are charging the castle while the evil queen has been prepping bombs that basically kill anything, that like disintegrate things to the touch, that Thanos snap them basically. And that is where we are. So Jamie, the climax. Were you expecting it?
Oh my God. Okay, so no, I wasn't expecting so much death.
Right?
It started in that little lair where the little troll fairy thing was doing experiments.
Oh, I got his name. Don't worry. His name is Lickspittle.
I didn't even notice. Lickspittle was doing experiments and he puts dust on a fairy and the fairy turned into a dandelion.
Right.
And I was like, dude, that's fucked up. Like, I can't believe they showed that. I was expecting it to be like off screen and to where like the reaction reactions of the little Sonic the Hedgehog thing and the mushroom were like, what?
Yeah.
But no, they showed it dying on screen and then trapping all the fairies in
the church
and killing them.
Oh my God, yeah.
And the Maleficents and all of them flying and like the bombs just going off and them turning to dust. I was like, that's so
Like I said,
messed
Thanos
up.
snapped. And okay, so Katie and I were watching it, and she was saying like, there's no stakes in this film beforehand. And then that starts happening. I'm like, what'd you say about no stakes? And she's like, obviously they're all gonna come back. Like there's gonna be a magic thing and all the things turn to stuff, come back. Nope.
No, they're all just dead.
Yeah.
And then what bothered me, really, really fucking bothered me, is that Aurora and Prince Philip still got married that day.
That day, it didn't like fade to like months later, or just like it could have just faded to an indiscriminate amount of time later.
Exactly. No, that day.
They literally said, today there will be a wedding. I know we all just lost a lot of loved ones, but
And
fuck
no
it.
one was sad. No one showed any sorrow or grief.
The king wakes up to a war that just happened, and he's like, oh, okay, what happens? No, oh, they're still getting married? Cool. My wife's a goat? Why not? Okay, let's do this. Like, what the fuck? It makes no goddamn sense.
I didn't like that they got married. That was just messed up. But I feel like this movie was just a conglomerate or a modge podge is a better word.
An amalgamation?
All the words.
Yes.
Of so many different pieces of media. Like I got strong Game of Thrones vibes from this because that scene, if you guys have watched one of the last episodes, it's not the last one. I'm not going to spoil it, but it just gave off vibes like this movie with a mad queen and then just a battle going on. And like that was very Game of Thrones. Locking the people in the church was very Game of Thrones. And then like you said, the Thanos snap where they turned to dust.
Yeah.
That was pulled from there. And then the last thing that I noticed that it had pulled from is when you found out that there were a bunch more Maleficent kind of people.
Yeah.
The scene where they fly through the caves or wherever they are, it reminded me so much of the scene in the third How to Train Your Dragons when they're going through the dragon place where they find all of these dragons living.
Oh, yeah.
That reminded me so much of that.
You know what's funny? I have it written down in my notes. That hat reminded me of the second How to Train Your Dragon. When he finds his mom, and they're just, it's a very similar scene, but he finds his mom and they go over all the, like, the dragons she has.
I just saw so many things that it pulled from, and that made me a little sketchy, like, no, you're not very original, but they, like, put them all together and, like, tried to do its own story, and I was like, okay, kind of original.
But then, okay, also kind of original, but another thing they pulled from when Chiwetel Ejiofor's character, Connell, when he was dying, it was very Avatar what they were doing, kind of like when,
yes.
Yeah, right?
They were, like, putting their hands on the ground to heal him.
In front of, the giant tree, and, I'm like, okay, this is, guys, you're drawing a little, like, come on,
it
guys,
really
come
was
on.
drawing from so many things.
I will say, another part that made me think of another thing. This is technically Disney's thing, so it's not fat, but whatever. When Maleficent gets dusted, all I could think of was like, Mr. Sleeping Beauty, I don't feel so good. Like Tom Holland in Infinite Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good.
Yeah.
Just Maleficent turning to her, Mr. Aurora, I don't feel so good. And just like fading away. But then she comes back.
How does she come back to life? I didn't understand that at all.
Didn't you hear him say? She is the giant bird. The giant bird is her.
Yeah, but she died. She turned to dust. Ashes to ashes. Dust to dust.
But she's a phoenix. So Phoenix
But
turned to ashes.
how?
And because she's a phoenix, Jamie. Don't make Mickey get in here. Jamie, don't make me take my glove off.
You just sound like small Ebenezer Scrooge.
I can't do a good Mickey.
Humbug.
I can't do a good Mickey.
You sounded more Stitch there.
Mina nana quista. All right. Oh, we're getting off track again, people. I have a question. I'm going to take us out the batshit insanity of the climax.
Okay, let's go back to the movie.
Back to the movie. Do you think this film would have been better if they didn't so obviously reveal that Michelle Pfeiffer was evil from like the beginning, right?
I would have preferred it if they hid it.
Right, exactly. Like they made her so evil. Like they showed her building the army and stuff, and she was such an asshole at that dinner.
So they showed her going down in the dungeon, talking to Lickspittle. I wish they had hidden that and just showed her as like more of an overprotective mom. And then towards like the end of the second act,
when Aurora discovers it, you could have been like, oh shit.
Exactly.
Yeah, the movie could have played up. No, Maleficent, she loves Aurora, doesn't love anyone else. And so she's still kind of evil. And like, if it played that up, that could have been a really interesting movie. But no, they had to go super evil. But it gave us the best or creepiest character of all time.
The little girl?
The redheaded, yeah.
Yes, the one playing the organ in the church, killing all the
who shot
fairies.
Maleficent, who just had like the biggest eyes the entire time. She was terrifying. And like, why?
I wish like you would have thought that she was the mastermind behind it and then discovered that it really was the queen. Like
That would've been
they just
interesting.
did it wrong there where they revealed the queen so early.
They could still show her being creepy and weird, and you'd be like, something's up with her. Like, what is she up to? Like, the queen's just being a mom, but what is up with her? And then you're just like, oh no, she's just a pawn.
Yeah, because I knew immediately, like, when they were like, oh, the king's been cursed. I was like, Maleficent didn't do that. The queen did that. Like, I knew immediately. There was no doubt in my mind.
If you listen to the king, go back and watch, like, the king says, what has she done? And that's all he says right before he faints.
Yeah.
He's not talking about Maleficent. He's talking about the queen. He's talking about his wife.
And more in that dinner, like, how was a netting around the horns supposed to make them less scary when they kind of made them more scary?
That's exactly what Katie said. She's like, it draws attention to him and makes him weirder. I think they were trying to make it look like the French style of headdress around a kind of like a medieval-ish time.
Yeah. But do fabric, not netting.
Like,
you
yeah,
can
do
still
something
see
like
the
completely
horns.
around it, like to completely cover it up. Not just something that kind of goes in between it. It's like, here's still the horns, and I'm still gonna wear a freaking necklace of bird skulls. You don't care about that, Aurora? You're not gonna be like, hey, can you just go with like a flat black instead of the bird skulls, maybe?
That was just weird.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird things about this film. Like, the whole proposal scene is very weird. Like, they take her crown and they're running it with it, and she's like, just like, I don't have time for this. Ugh, what?
Yeah, that was very played up.
Like, too played up. And then the weirdest part that really weirded me out, after she says yes and they kiss and like everyone's like, oh yay, you realize that the tree they're in, those leaves, they're not surrounded by leaves, they're surrounded by more fairies, by little peeping fairies that are just
They're
like
everywhere.
they're everywhere. They're like, literally, they have little fairy flies that can catch the crown. These two will never be alone ever. I will say, I'm glad that one of those, the trio of fairies, I'm glad she died.
Really?
I hated them in the first film. They were the worst. They were such idiots. If it wasn't for Maleficent, Aurora would have been dead 10 times over with them. Like, it's crazy. And they're like just as stupid in this film. So I'm kind of glad one of them died.
For children, though, that's terrifying to see
Yes.
like one of the main people from the story that you know die. Which, I mean, she didn't really die, because at the end, when Aurora's walking down the aisle and the two fairies are changing it from pink to green, and then the blue fairy changes the dress blue from like the other side as a ghost. I don't know, as a flower. She blooms as a flower
Force
and
ghost.
still has magical
Force
powers.
fairy ghost.
Another pull.
Nothing makes sense about this film. But I will say, the first third, it's kind of boring, but there's a decent setup. And I like the relationship between Maleficent and Diabar, her crow
That is
human.
amazing. I love them. They're so funny together.
There was a sexual tension there that you're not sure about. Is that just me?
Like a dom.
Yeah, like she might be the dom to his sub. Like, maybe.
Yeah.
He always calls her mistress. Like, that's
I
always how we were from. I'm
know.
like, they're hinting. Again, no. I like them.
I liked when he like mentions being turned into a bear, and then at the end when she fucking turned him into a crow bear. I was
like that.
Yes.
It wasn't even just a
yes!
bear. It was a crow bear. Like, it was like a half bear, half bird. It was awesome.
And then at the wedding, he's like, "Sorry if I mauled any of you."
Yeah. Like, what? That's not. Oh, this is what, again, the insanity of the third act. These are my notes. First third, kind of boring, but decent setup. Second third, boring pre-war talking. That's all the second third is. It's just like, we need to fight or we could broker peace on both sides. There's like both of those conversations happening simultaneously. The climax, the final third, just batshit insanity. From then until the end, it's just utter nonsense. But either way, I feel like is a generic film for the most part, and then a crazy film for the final third.
There are bits of it that are just like, what? Like the very first scene when they're going to search for the fairies or the mushrooms or whatever, like they're looking for shrooms is what they're doing.
Yeah.
And then like when they were doing that, I was like, so I get that like the mushrooms are alive, but what if these guys are just on shrooms and they see the mushrooms and the mushrooms are alive because they're on shrooms?
They got it, man.
But there's no way that a mushroom could outrun that dude.
Right.
Like they were showing the mushroom like running away from the guy and the mushroom just running like normal speed and then the guy is running like super fast behind him. There's no way that it would have taken him that long to catch up to the mushroom.
He would have gone like 10 feet while the dude has to take like 3 steps to do that. Like
exactly.
Like I said, this kind of has the same thing where there's kind of too much of a tonal difference where like you get like really awkward, forced, cringe kind of scenes of them stealing the crown and stuff. And then like
super dark shit,
like people grave robbing, because technically that's what they do. Like they desecrate graves to get that shit, to make weapons to kill people that do kill people. I don't know what else to say about this film.
I like that the queen was turned into a goat, but now it's just going to be a murderous goat going around. Like,
right?
There's no way she's not going to use those horns. Make her something that won't be able to kill anybody.
I think that was a reshoot. I want to look it up, but I think that was a reshoot because like in the first film, the first king, he gets a death. And this one, like it kind of insinuated that when you had all the dark fae kind of like surrounding her at one point.
Yeah, I wanted them to torture her and rip her apart.
Like that's what you thought was going to happen. Like, oh, they're going to fuck her up. Like she's dead. She's not coming out of that alive or sane. But then like it cuts to like her getting ripped out from like a really high window, even though she was like on the ground floor, then getting like whipped around, but then like getting like landing softly on the ground and then just getting changed into a goat. I feel like someone like early thing, like they watched it and they're like, guys, there's a lot of dark stuff in this film. We can't insinuate that the queen just gets like tortured and ripped limb from limb. Can we do something? Can we turn her into a goat? Can we do that? Like I honestly think that's what happened.
And the king was like, you can change your back, right? And Maleficent's like, maybe. And the king's like, only if we want to.
Only if we want to. I never liked her that much anyway. What a weird kingdom we run.
Was the king technically Sleeping Beauty in this movie?
Yes, the king was the Sleeping Beauty. Oh, I love it. Oh, and Katie kept saying, if the son had just kissed the dad, that probably would have worked. Like she couldn't because she didn't love him. But like the son obviously loves his dad.
True love, yeah.
Like it would have woken him up and he would have like just woken up and been like, guys, arrest her, kill her. She cursed me.
The very last thing I have to say is the description on Disney Plus literally just said, the story of Disney's most iconic villain continues. Literally nothing about the story at all. And I'm like, so much shit happens. You could say so much, but they're just, the story continues.
At least, okay, so on IMDb, which this thing is written by Disney, it says a bit more than that. It gives you like the relationship is tense, they're pulled in different directions, stuff happens. Is Maleficent Disney's most iconic villain? Maybe. Definitely one of. Well, I always remember like in like the Disney fireworks shows where Mickey's there and he's the wizard, he always fights Maleficent as a dragon.
Yeah, Maleficent is usually in most things because she can turn into a dragon.
But she can't in these films. She turns into a bird.
She turns to ashes. And then the ashes turn into a bird, which does absolutely nothing but destroy a tower and then save Elle Fanning.
Which she
Aurora.
could have done as Maleficent. I feel like people were like complained that last time she didn't turn into the dragon, but this time Disney was like, well, here, a giant bird. Disney has to learn between this film and the remake of Aladdin, if there was a giant reptile at the end of your film, we expect giant reptiles, not giant birds. All right. Who would you recommend this for?
I mean, obviously Disney fans, Angelina Jolie fans, because I think her acting was amazing in this. She did phenomenal. We haven't even talked about that.
Honestly, I think we didn't talk about it because it was a given. I will say that was the one great thing about her in the first one. She was great. She was born to be Maleficent, the live action Maleficent.
Yeah.
Back to my guesses. Let's remind everyone. For objective competence, I guessed a B. This film is decently well put together. It's shot well. It looks nice. It's acted pretty decently from everyone.
I gave it a B+. Again,
yeah.
Thought it was done well and everything. Literally had to be not an A because it took so much from other films, but it was really good.
Okay, so for personal enjoyment, I guess a 6 out of 10. I honestly don't know. Like this one, rewatching it, it's kind of a fun watch. It's kind of boring the first two halves, but then the third act is so crazy. You're like, I don't know. That was kind of fun. So I guessed a 6 out of 10.
So close. I gave it a 7 out of 10.
No way. Oh,
I
leaving it
know.
low. Oh, damn.
I was watching it and I was literally like, this is pulling, but I liked all those things that it pulls from. So I was like, this is a lot of stuff. And there was like funny moments in it. And I was engaged because it was a story I had never heard before and I was actually interested in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So rewatchability, I guessed a 3 out of 5. I think you'd want to rewatch this again, maybe once or twice, but I think you'd want to get like really drunk or something beforehand and then watch it. Or at least like create a drinking game so that throughout the first 2/3, like you get really drunk and then the final third happens, you're wasted and you're just like, yeah, let's go. I don't know. So 3 out of 5.
I gave it a 3 out of 5.
Oh, dang. You know what? I'm only off by 2, but
I was only off by 1.
yeah, not enough to beat you. We really knew each other this week.
Oh my
Dang.
God. Last episode was a tie. This
Yeah.
one, we're just one off from each other. Like, dang.
The show's gonna get boring if we keep getting this close.
I know.
Or even more exciting.
Next week's going to be a turn, though. You guys just wait.
Next week's a grab bag. We're not gonna get into it, but next week's a grab bag, y'all. It's gonna be crazy. All right, so you win.
I win! It's only been 2 episodes since I've won, but I won. I'm trying to think. Do the Disney noise.
No, 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 no.
Jamie won the game.
Jamie won. Jamie won the game. Do 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 do.
Jamie won the Disney episode. Do. Good. It's on brand for me. I'm a very Disney person.
Great.
Very
Disney's
on
now
brand.
suing us. Good job.
Please don't.
Don't sue us, Disney. We gave these both 7 out of 10s. That's pretty good. That's pretty
They're
good.
both in the bees.
They're both in the bees. We both want to watch them again.
It's all love.
All hail the Disney overlords. All right.
Before we get into the mini segment, I just wanted to remind you guys to go enter the sweepstakes. It's going to close very soon.
Yep. Come on, guys. We need entries. Don't you want to like control us? Don't you want to tell us what to do? Don't you want to make us watch a really bad movie or make us watch one of your favorite movies and then yell at us if we disagree with you?
Exactly.
Come on.
Just come on, you guys. Enter.
Enter now.
You know the rules already.
You know the rules.
If not, go look at our social medias.
No rules, just right your way. Taco Bell. I don't know. No, that was right. Let's get into some mini segments. All right. To stay on theme with this week of rebooted Disney, and because of the theme, like we said, it's because Jungle Cruise just came out, which is a fucking crazy idea for a movie, basing it on that ride at Disney. So we thought, why not talk about more rides that we think should become movies, or movies we think should become rides. So Jamie, what do you got? What's your first one?
First one on my wish list, I have the one that's probably on everyone's wish list because this idea has floated around the internet for years, is the Emperor's New Groove. For years, it's been said online that this would be the best ride, starting off with Yzma and Krunk, where she goes, pull the lever, Krunk, wrong lever! Like, it could be a water ride or an epic roller coaster or a drop ride. Like, just that alone would be amazing.
Right, and you can like go through scenes of the movie and like you could be chased by like the Panthers and you could go over a waterfall. There's so much stuff you could do with crazy technology that Disney parks are coming up with nowadays.
I know.
Emperor's New Groove is an amazing choice. I love that movie.
That's such a good movie.
I love the waterfall coming up. Yep. Sharp rocks at the bottom. Most likely. Bring it on. Booyah.
Squeaker, squeak, squeakerson. Squeak, squeaker.
Squeaky.
Krunk is like the best
Krunk's the
Disney
best.
sidekick, Disney villain sidekick ever.
He's
The
one of the best Disney characters ever. Great choice. Okay, so my first choice would be How to Train Your Dragon. There needs to be a ride of it. Like Katie and I, we went to Universal 2 years ago for my birthday. And we were there for like 3 days. So we did everything. And after the Shrek ride, she was like, that's really outdated. I'm like, it is. And she's like, they could totally replace it with a How to Train Your Dragon flight simulator kind of thing. Kind of like Soaring or the Pandora ride. I haven't been on that one, but something like that. And you could just fly through Burke and fly through like with all these dragons, and then you could be like attacked by a giant one and like dodging stuff, and just it could be an amazing experience. Or you could do like a roller coaster. You have like the images projected and stuff. There's so much stuff you can do nowadays.
Next one is a ride I think should be turned into a movie, and it's at Disney's Animal Kingdom. I think Expedition Everest would make an amazing movie, whether it's animated or not.
Oh yeah, that's totally gonna be another one with The Rock in it. You can just see The Rock trying to climb Everest or something.
Mount Kilimanjaro never faced a rock this big.
The world's biggest rock is going up against a mountain.
But yes, I think Expedition Everest would be an amazing movie, animated or not animated.
Okay, so my next one is 3. So I kind of envisioned it as a trilogy. So I think they should do a trilogy of the Big Thunder, Splash, and Space Mountain.
Yes, even though Splash Mountain is based on Brer Rabbit.
Yeah, it's based on Song of the South, but I think they're replacing it.
They're replacing it with Princess and the Frog.
Yes. Yeah, obviously we have a movie based on Princess and the Frog, but I think kind of at the same way. You could kind of what it would be like with Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright's Cornetto trilogy, Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, At World's End.
Yeah.
Like those 3 films. They're like technically a trilogy. They're not super linked, but they could be. Like I feel like these could be that, where you have like Big Thunder Mountain, which is kind of could be like more of like a period
Old
piece.
West.
Old West. You could just basically set it like that. Just call it Big Thunder Mountain. Have the setting be Big Thunder Mountain. Boom. You can just do anything you want with that. Same with like any of these, like Splash Mountain. You just have it be like a movie that's like about
a waterfall.
Could be, or just like going down a river, kind of like a Huckleberry Finn kind of thing. Just people traveling down a river and shit that happens. And then Space Mountain, just do a sci-fi film. And then like somehow maybe like all of these connect with like a final 4th film or something. I don't know. But like I feel like these could be such great films. And I feel like people are like, this is fucking insane. Like why are we Big Thunder Mountain, the movie? What? Disney, you're crazy. What? You have no ideas. Who cares? I want to go see it. Let's go.
I love that. I would love to see a mountains movie. So I'm going like super less intense than like roller coasters and epic stuff. And I think a Moana boat ride would be really cute. And I don't know why they haven't like even announced that yet. Like I feel like in Epcot, they need a Polynesian land all about Hawaii because it has such an amazing culture, and have a Moana boat ride there.
They could definitely do that.
Do you have any more?
I have one more, and it's one that already exists, but it's a terrible version. My last one is a better Fast and Furious ride. And to anyone who's been to Universal and been on that ride, they know that is a terrible ride. Little history on that ride. It started as Earthquake the Ride, where you basically went on the subway train and then it simulated what it'd be like on the subway in an earthquake. So like the thing shook, the ceiling caved in, water flooded in, fire bursting. It was crazy. And then they reworked that. They kept that, but they added a few other elements where they made it disaster to film the ride. And that wasn't an actual thing, but like they had Christopher Walken and The Rock be like playing these director and actor who was making the next big blockbuster called Mother Nature. And they took people from the audience to get shots to be put in the trailer. And then they still used the earthquake ride to like give them an actual ride. It was great. And then they changed it to the Fast and Furious ride, which I thought was going to be awesome because Fast and Furious is like just insane action and like crazy, like what's going on, insanity. So I thought the ride would be something like that. But no, you're just on this bus. Well, no, first you have to go through these rooms, which when we went, it felt sad because like there's this whole space to fill up this whole room with people to get the line moving. But there's only like 12 of us in there. And this poor Universal actor who has to like do this performance, whether there's like 100 people or like one person in the room. And he's giving it all. He has to act with the pre-recorded actors from the film. Then you go on this bus where you just drive, and then they have screens on either side where you're just in a chase scene from a movie. But and it just kind of shakes you a little bit. And you're like, and that's it. That's the whole thing. And you're just like, that's it? That's it. You can't be like, what's the one at Epcot? Test Track or something?
Test Track, yeah.
Yeah, like a Fast and Furious ride that like takes you like that, but also has elements of like the Spider-Man ride where you're like just getting whipped around and like you're seeing like 3D stuff. Like it could have been amazing. They fucked it up. So there needs to be a better Fast and Furious ride.
Okay, so we each had 3, and I wasn't going to do one of mine because it was like a remake, like something that's already been done, but Derek did it, so I want to do mine really quick. I think they should redo the Haunted Mansion movie.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yes, needs to be an amazing movie. They have such an amazing opportunity. Don't do it modern day. I want to know about the woman beheading all of her husbands, killing all her husbands. That's what I want to know.
Follow the Pirates formula. Period piece it.
Make it what the ride is.
Get an eccentric actor or actress for like a side character that's going to steal the show. That was such a wasted opportunity.
That needs to be done. It needs to be so much better.
All right.
I guess that means it's on to our mini games. You gotta say it like Mickey Mouse. Mini games. Mini games. Hot dog, hot diggity dog.
Mini games. Mini games. By the way, Blake, I hope you're listening.
Okay,
Blake.
hang on. My little brother texted me after listening to the America one. And I said it to Derek, and he said, just finish your new episode. Tell Derek he needs to take some singing classes.
I'm coming for you, Blake. Watch yourself. No, okay. Mini
Derek's
games.
singing is beautiful. Mini games, yes.
Mini games.
All right, my movie was first, so that means you're first in the mini games.
Awesome. All right. So my mini game, we played it many times before, is bad movie reviews. I'm going to read some movie reviews of specifically Disney live action remakes. I know that's not exactly what our theme was, but it's kind of in the same vein. Just remember that all of these are Disney live action remakes. We're going to do it in the same vein as the quotes. I have 4 reviews for each film. I've got 3 films. So you just give me 1 through 4 and I'll read the review. All right. So for the first film, Jamie, 1 through 4.
Give me number 2.
All right. This is from Abby Gay, who gives the film 2 stars. I also have wild and intense dreams about meeting Johnny Depp, but they always end with me punching him in the fucking face.
Alice in Wonderland?
It is Alice in Wonderland. Dang it.
The first one?
The first one, yeah. You didn't say the second time.
I was just trying to think of Disney remakes.
Yeah, he's only in that one and the sequel to it. I guess he's in the Lone Ranger. You could count that, but yeah. Dang it, that was a quick one. All right, number 2. Give me 1 through 4.
Give me 4.
Okay. Oh, this is a long one. This comes from Josh Lewis, who gives it 1 star. Groundbreaking virtual technology and the budget of a small country hoarded and deployed by people whose imaginations quite literally run as deep as, what if we took some of the most expressive, stylish hand-drawn animation of all time and forced the boring limitations of real cameras onto it? As a kid, I always watched those wonderfully heightened, colorful musical sequences and felt they were missing realistic physics and some HD drone shots. Everything wrong with this can be observed in how badly they butchered it both musically and formally. This is so far beyond the usual soulless replication. It's genuinely anti-art. 1 star.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's a long one. It's a hated one. What do you think that Disney remake is?
Oh my god.
That could describe a couple of them, couldn't it?
It really could. Read me number 1.
Number
Maybe
1.
I'll have a better idea.
Okay, this is from Demi. This is going to sound extremely stupid, but my big problem with this movie is that nobody has eyebrows, and I truly believe the movie would be fine if everybody just had eyebrows.
What movie do people not have eyebrows in? What the hell?
It makes sense once you know the movie, but yes, I actually very much agree with this review.
Is it Alice in Wonderland again? Like, are you trying to trip me up?
No, it's not Alice in Wonderland. All right, you want another one?
3.
All right, this is from Adrian Balboa, who gives it 3.5 stars. John Oliver wasn't even acting.
Is it The Lion King?
It is The Lion King.
Are they meant to have eyebrows? They're
Well, like,
animals.
That's the thing they were saying, because the animals didn't have eyebrows. That was my complaint. They're very unexpressive. They look like animals. Animals aren't that expressive, except for like a couple animals. But lions aren't super expressive, so it just looked like boring lines. All right, last one. 1 through 4.
1.
This is from Lily, who gave it 3 stars. The amount of power Emma Stone has for making my gay ass rewatch this film.
Is it the one that just came out? Cruella?
No. It is not that.
Give me 2.
Number 2. This is from Ziglet_mirror. 2.5 stars. Heavy nostalgia attached to this one. Quite refreshing to see highly trained animals rock the film instead of CGI. If there is something it holds objectively well, it has to be its way of capturing snowy pastures and a festive cold. Or is it just me?
Snowy pastures.
You want another review?
3.
All right. This is from Katie. Yet another role for which Glenn should have won her Oscar.
101 Dalmatians?
It is 101 Dalmatians. I'm not sure if the first person was confused about what movie they were reviewing or what. Or like they're saying because Cruella was coming out, they wanted to rewatch this one. I don't know. But yes, it was 101 Dalmatians. What some would argue be the first Disney live action remake. All right, Jamie, let's get on to your game.
My minigame is one of Derek's favorites. 5-second rule.
What? The one we both kind of suck at.
We're both terrible at, but we love doing.
All right.
For the other.
Because we both think we'll get it this time. Because I do got it. I know I got it. It's got to be it's going to be like Disney related, right? Somewhat?
I'll give you the themes. Each one has a theme.
Okay, yeah.
So you can like think about it. First one is Christmas, not in order. So you cannot give them to me in order. Name 3 of the 12 days of Christmas.
5 golden rings, 12 drummers drumming, partridge in a pear tree.
You got 8 seconds. That's
Oh,
how long
God.
that took you.
Making it out of order makes it so much harder. 5
If it's in order, then you can do it so quick.
Right. Oh, God.
You did it in 8 seconds, though. That's good. All right. The second theme is Disney remakes.
Got it.
Not from Maleficent, and all from different movies. Name 3 actors who have acted in Disney remakes.
Johnny Depp. Oh, fuck. Lily James. Fuck me. I can't. Let me think.
Come on, just one more.
Why can't I think of a third one?
Just one more.
I can't think of anyone in Aladdin or anyone else. Will Smith. Will Smith.
There you go.
Jesus Christ.
24 seconds.
Why couldn't I think of Will Smith? I'm trying to think of all the other Disney remakes. I can't think of any other actually big name actors. Whatever. Dang it.
I thought I didn't want to make them too easy. So.
That one actually is fairly easy. I should have been able to get that one.
Last one is rides, like theme park rides.
All right.
Name 3 theme park rides that have never been adapted into or from a movie.
The Tiki Room, Mount or Space Mountain, Big Thunder Mountain, Splash Mountain. Oh, no, Big Thunder Mountain, Space Mountain. Yeah, I got him.
You got him.
Because I said the
about
Tiki
7
Room,
seconds,
too.
so that was your best one.
And
yeah.
the Tiki Room, yeah. Technically, Splash Mountain was based on one, but Big Thunder and Space weren't. I got a 33. Woo! I did it.
Yay! So, y'all, that's our show. This
We did
episode,
it.
we reviewed Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, and A Christmas Carol. The final score was tallied, and Jamie won! Finally, I did it after 2 episodes of not winning. Well, technically, we tied in the last one, but
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah, I went like 4 episodes losing. Yeah, whatever.
JAMIEMOUSE. Jamie Mouse. Derek
don't
sucks. Jamie Mouse. Derek sucks.
Fuck you. It took me a second to realize what you were spelling. After Jamie, I'm like, Jamie. And then you're like, M. I'm like, M. That's not any of your last names. And then I'm like, MOUS. Moose? No, that's not right. Mouse. All right. And, as always, we like to end our shows with one of us leading a review. One of our greatest friends, Jasmine James, left this amazing review for us on Facebook. Even though I was still recovering from the holiday weekend, in addition to a very stressful work week, this episode was the wonderful addition to the relax and vibe weekend routine I've established for myself. Jamie and Derek made me laugh, as they always have, followed by a sigh of relief I really needed. All the segments of the podcast are engaging, and I love how much their personalities are genuinely genuinely projected in this project. I am between our virtual game nights. This podcast helps me keep updated on what's going on. Keep up the great work, and if you haven't heard the podcast yet, check it out. Thank you, Jasmine, so much for that amazing and glowing review. Seriously, that's so kind. Stuff like that, guys, it keeps us going, keeps us grinding
makes us
for
feel
you.
Good.
Exactly. Makes us watch these movies for you.
So you guys leave us a review wherever you can, and maybe next episode you'll be able to hear your review on our podcast. So you can leave it on Apple Podcasts. You can write to us at iknowyoudjpodcast@gmail.com. You can do our Instagrams at iknowyoupod, Facebook, I Know You with Derek and Jamie podcast. Twitter is at iknowyoupodcast. So there's so many places you can go. Write us a review, leave us a comment, just give us some words of encouragement, really.
Give us anything. We just want to hear from you. Also, we'd like to let you know what movies we're watching next week and have you write in and let us know what you think the theme will be, as well as your ratings. We want to know what you guys think of these movies, whether you've seen them or not or whatever. So the movies are Invincible, which is on Disney Plus, not the TV show, guys. This is the Invincible movie starring Mark Wahlberg, and The Last Unicorn, which is found on Amazon. So with those two, let us know what you think their theme is, who's suggesting what, and your rating.
And just a heads up on that, usually the day before the podcast airs, so the Monday before, I'll go on Instagram and put up polls to see who you guys think suggested what, your ratings, and who you think won that episode before the podcast goes up. So head over to Instagram. You can answer all of those polls and everything there. You know, we post this podcast every other Tuesday, so remember to just come back and listen wherever you listen to podcasts. So thank you so much for listening to I Know You with Derek and Jamie. Until next time, I'm Jamie.
And I'm Derek.
Bye, y'all. We'll see you next time.
See you real soon, pals.
There's some good audio for you guys. Okay, bye.
Oh my
We're good.
Bye.
Got it. We're done. Bye.